To be here. It's simply completely unique. There is nothing else like it on the planet. It's all about humans. It's human stories. They're completely alone. They can't bring family, friends. There is no outside assistance. Everything that moves their boat through the water is because of the skipper. It's a completely unscripted adventure. No one knows exactly what's going to happen.
McIntyre Golden Globe, around the world from the south to north, December 6th, 26th. Yay!
Hello, we're back. So I think you saw something then, but anyway, that was just to wait for a few people to come up. And we've got them all there, and I've got Mr. Gunnar sitting right here. So if we're lucky, here he comes, 210. Oh, you're there. Hang on, I've got to put you up now. Why isn't that not there? Okay. No. Hello, Gunnar. You can hear me.
I can hear you.
I got to get you on the screen here now. I've got all of you, and now I want. No, that didn't work. Oh, I see why. Oh, jeepers. Okay, now I've got a 4-screen shot on, and I'm not there. You're there. Jane. We had a controlled stop. Went with. It's now back on 4-screen. Now we've got 3-screen. Remove that. Now we've got 2. That's it. Don't change it. Perfect. Jeepers. I have a 4-screen shot here or a 5-screen. It went to 5, which completely. Hello.
Hi, Don.
Are you excited about being involved with a professional organisation like the Golden Globe?
I've watched all of these skipper interviews, and I would be disappointed if it started perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, good to catch up. It's been a while. Jeepers, your refit seems to be going pretty well. There's a lot happening.
Yeah. We've been hauled out for 7 weeks now. Good. It was just a delay. I'm getting a hydrovane fitted off center, and it just was a bit of a delay with that. But yeah, otherwise I could have been in 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So you tell us about your boat and just quickly where it came from and what's going on right now.
Yeah. 2 years ago, bought it in Trinidad, the land of broken dreams for yachts. So I was able to pick it up for a really good price. And
Yeah.
2 things, I also then did the 4,000-mile solo qualifier coming back with the boat during hurricane season, which was a little bit dicey, but I managed to thread the needle there. And a great boat. I mean, what is it? We have 4 Bob Perry designs in the race. And this is a Hans Christian 34 that's 34 feet on deck, and then bowsprit, of course. So nice long waterline. I just loved the boat. It did great in the transatlantic. Really, really lovely.
Yeah. You've got a what would you call it? A glove box over the companionway there. That looks
That's for a Biscay 36. So Alan Lillywhite, who had to then switch to the 2030 race, that was a prototype and was kind enough to gift it to me for my boat. And I really love it. It's perfect.
Yeah, looking good now. Okay, so this is, the deal with these chats. It's a lot of it's just about you, not the GGR, just to work out who you are. So are you American, or are you British, or are you Australian? And where were you born? Tell us a bit about when you were a little boy. What happened?
Yeah, so I grew up in the US of A, and we won't go into politics. But I'm not incredibly proud, but let's just say I'm happy to be living here in the UK full time. So but I grew up in New England, and on the coast of Maine, which is sailing central. And,
nice spot, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. I still think with all the sailing I've done, it's some of the best, except for the cold weather. You only get a few months of good weather, but it's great sailing there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, were you a good boy at school? And what
Uh,
did
I was a good. I applied myself well, but the grades didn't always um, come from that. And there's kind of a funny sailing story associated with a school that I went to. Yeah,
yeah,
which
keep it going. What's the
all
story?
right. So yeah, I my parents divorced when I was about 11, and um, they gave me the choice. They said, well, the schools where I was living with my mother weren't that great, so they said, do you want to go away to boarding school? And it was only an hour away from both my mom and my dad in Connecticut, and so I went to a pre-prep school, and I tried hard, and but my math scores weren't that great, and I was moving on to the next prep school, the boarding school in Connecticut, and I was my first choice. They said, most of my advisors said, "Well, you won't get into that school." But I went anyway for an interview, and I'm sitting there with my dad and very nervous. And the secretary said, "Ooh, you'll be interviewed by the headmaster today, and he doesn't often interview people." So, and I just, oh, great, I get the headmaster. I go in, and there's sailing photos everywhere. We got to talking, and he said, "Well, what have you been reading lately?" And I said, "Well, um, funny enough, Gypsy Moth circles the world. 1966 Chichester." He goes, "Oh," he just right away we started chatting, and I had spent the summer working at a shipyard, caulking decks on a Phillips rowboat, and he said, "Tell me about what you've been doing." And I said, "Well, I've been working actually at a shipyard." He said, "Oh, you found that interesting?" And I said, "Sir, is that a Phillips Rhodes sloop behind you?" He said, "Yeah, that's my Philip Rhodes." And I said, "Oh, I was actually caulking the deck on a Philip Rhodes boat." And he goes,
Yeah.
"You're kidding me." And so we spent about an hour discussing the intricacies of caulking his deck. And
Okay. So that was it.
long story short, I walked out. And my dad said, "How did that go?" And I said, "I think rather well." And I did get into the school. So
Yeah.
it wasn't academics. It was
Yeah.
sailing.
So you were into sailing before you even got that far.
Yeah, yeah. So my family, my mom and dad have always had sailboats. My mom, offshore sailor. I would sail with my dad as a kid down to the Caribbean. My uncle was a big influence, who was 6 months on with the Merchant Marines, and then he had 6 months off, where he would go do sailing adventures and would drag me along as a young teenager. And it just opened my eyes to this whole other world. So that and dinghy sailing, at the local club up in
Yeah.
Maine, you couldn't pull me off of my little sunfish sailboat.
Jeepers. You're
Yeah.
hardcore. So how many
Yeah, well,
miles
I tried
did
to
you?
get away from it, but it just kept on
Yeah.
steamrolling. And
So
here I am.
have you got a like you've done 20,000, 50,000?
Yeah,
What
I
is
don't know. Oh, 80. I mean, 7 or 8
whatever.
transatlantics. And
So
I mean,
okay.
it's all I've done my whole life. So I've
So
lost
what
track.
did you what
80,000.
was your first job, like a proper job when you finished your education so that you could afford to stay sailing? What were you doing?
Yeah, but the first one happened during university. I decided, okay, I'm going to make my parents proud and not go sailing anymore. I took a year and a half off between high school and college. I went down to the Hinkley Yacht Yard in Southwest Harbor, Maine, which they make beautiful classic yachts.
Yeah.
And I was expecting to find a job sweeping up, or painting bottoms of boats. And they found out I had a 100-ton master's license because I worked on schooners
Yeah.
as a teenager. And I
Yeah.
eventually, at 19, was able to get my 100-ton license. And they said, "Well, we need a skipper for our 43-foot Ted Hood racing boat for the summers." So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, great.
Well,
So,
you're getting paid.
oh yeah, I was paying
Jeepers.
for university. Yeah. So
That's
it
cool.
was, and then when I finished university, it just was right down to the Caribbean on a Swan 65, and the rest is history. It's been really good. It's been a great run, but I can discuss it a little bit later. I kind of fell out of love with sailing a bit. Yeah, just because it was a job.
Yeah, right. Okay, so but as my mother would say, when are you going to get a real job? What happened next?
It never happened, but I really moved. I was able to move up on some pretty large yachts, and I always made it an adventure, and
Yeah,
which you can understand. And if it wasn't an adventure I wasn't interested in, it eventually got to The real job was a 140-foot brand new Fed ship motor yacht,
Yeah.
big white motor yacht,
Yeah.
and it was going to be 6 months on, 6 months off. And I was due to go meet it in New York to take it around to San Diego. And then a friend of mine said, a French construction company is looking for somebody to run their maritime operations in Haiti, not Tahiti, Haiti. And I said, well, that sounds a lot more interesting than running a big white motor yacht. So
Yeah.
my mother said, remind me when you're going down to New York to go take the yacht to San Diego. And I said, I'm not. I'm actually going to Haiti to go run their maritime operations for
Holy moly.
Lafarge. So that was kind of a real, it was, I guess if you can call it a real job. I worked for a big corporation, but it was, it was the Wild West in Haiti.
So
And
you didn't have a bachelor of engineering or science or something, and you never quite got there. It's been in boats all the time.
I got a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, if you can believe it. So what good is that going to
Well, you're
do?
qualified to talk about politics, but we won't.
No, we won't. But yeah, privately.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, you're caught between two worlds because the boss is on the other side at the moment.
I know. It was
Anyway.
doing great.
That's cool. Jeepers, I honestly didn't realize. I thought, it's unusual to have someone that's gone from school to college and always been hanging out with boats and maritime, but that's been it for you.
That's been it. Yeah, nothing. By the time I got onto the big white motor yacht, or I didn't make it on there, but that was the next step.
Yeah.
I'd had enough of working for really wealthy people on their yachts. I was lucky where I had a good run of a
Yeah.
couple really good owners where we did fun things and, explored the Orinoco River and did really cool dives throughout the world.
Yeah.
And one woman was a really great philanthropist in Maine, so we did really cool things. But then it just got I was then a bad run of a few owners on a 94-foot Sparkman and Stevens sloop at Caribbean Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And he was from California and it was a piece of work. So that's why I got off and just went to Haiti. And it was 4 years in Haiti, which was great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Is your mum still with you? Or
No, both parents sadly passed away. My dad was much older than my mom. So, my mom, 3 years ago or so.
Okay, all right. Well, she would have been impressed anyway. So now you're into the GGR. So where did you? I mean, silly question for someone who's in boats. When did you first hear about the GGR?
Well, yeah, I've always,
Just a book.
yeah. So I don't remember actually reading Sir Robin, A World of My Own, but of course I knew about Robin Knox Johnston and knew about the first race in '68, and I'm sure it was in the back of my mind a bit in 2018 on the first reiteration of the race. It really didn't hit home until I said, what am I going to do for an adventure? This is about 3.5, 4 years ago when, my mother had just passed away, sold a house, had a little bit of means. And I did a crazy thing. I bought a Baltic 42, an old Admiral's Cup Baltic 42 in Jamaica 3.5 years ago. And that was going to be my adventure boat. And I thought maybe the Global Solo Challenge.
Yeah.
And then, but I started looking at that race and said, where's the camaraderie? Because you start at different times.
Yeah.
Who's going to sponsor me in a Baltic 42? And, I didn't see the family there. And so I started obviously looking in the Golden Globe. And one of the clients on a boat that I was working on loves the Golden Globe race. And he said, you should do the Golden Globe race. And I said, well, I don't have a boat for the Golden Globe race. And he said, go get a boat for the Golden Globe race. And he paid the first entry supplement for the race, which is very nice. And
I said, that was pretty straightforward. So you didn't say no, but so there wasn't a real spark to say, I've got to do it for a year or so. And then all of a sudden, bang, it was just a conversation and just drifted into it.
Well, yeah, once I knew I wanted to do an adventure, and the Global Solo Challenge wasn't really, I just had to put up so much of my own money, I think, for that. And I mean, I've had a lot of help to get to the start of this of the Golden Globe race, and which I need, and I'm still spending a lot of my own money. But obviously, there's a lot more exposure with the Golden Globe race, and the more I started looking into, the 2022 race had just finished. Kirsten had just won. And I just said, oh, yeah, that's the race for me. And then it was time to go find a boat.
Yeah. Cool. And so I know there's a classic story with your boat. I think you bought it sight unseen. You flew over, and well, you tell the story.
Yeah, I looked at it. The smart thing to do would be to go find a boat locally, and I looked at 2 or 3 trade winds right here locally in the Solent. One actually Etienne purchased,
Oh yeah,
and that
yeah,
was the only one that was kind of within a price range that I could afford because I didn't have any backing when I was buying the boat. And I looked at a Biscay 36 in Wales as well. And then a friend of mine in the States, she used to be editor of Yachting Magazine, loves the Golden Globe race, said, "Have you seen this Hans Christian 34 for sale in Trinidad?" No. She sent me the link. And I just, wow, that it looks amazing. It was June, early June, so start of hurricane season. So I sat down with my team who were helping me find boats and get organized for the race. And they said, "Right, did you find a boat?" And I said, "I found a boat. It's in which one?" And they thought I was going to mention the one over in Isle of Wight. And I said, "No, it's actually in Trinidad. It's Trinidad. When are you going to go get that?" And I said, "Well, actually, I have a flight in 5 days." They said, "What?" So it worked out great. I said, "Listen, hear me out. I often would fly to the Caribbean and go be hired to go take a boat all the way back to New England, and I would spend 24 hours on the boat before I left and just leave. If something wasn't right, I wouldn't leave right away, or I would not leave at all." I said, "I'll get a round trip ticket from London down to Port of Spain in Trinidad, and if it doesn't check out, I'll just turn around and come home." But the boat checked out. It had gone through a major refit the year before, and I said, I'll know quickly if the guy
yeah,
didn't do everything he said he did. And he did. He was true to his word. He did a really great job with the refit. Something changed in his life where he said, this is something I can't pursue anymore.
yeah,
And hence I have a very, well-found boat.
yeah. So you flew in one day, bought it
I
the
flew,
next
yeah.
day.
We flew in one day. Quick look at the boat. Next day was get the bird poop off the boat. Third day was get the sails on the boat. Fourth day, I did have to got the engine going, the alternator. I had to pull the alternator and just get it bench tested and do a tweak on it. Alternator back on. Fifth day, I kept looking at the low pressure systems, and there was a clear window for 5 days of no tropical systems. So I said, "Wow, if I can get out of the Caribbean, which is about 3 days, I might be home free as far as missing the hurricanes."
Yeah,
And so I loaded it with food, and I had plenty of food, but no variety, which was a mistake because I wasn't thinking food. I went up for a 1-hour test sail to see how the wind vane worked,
yeah.
and the sails went up and down, and I left. And I've never been on a boat where I've really had nothing go wrong. It was just everything.
Touch wood.
Everything was great. I don't recommend it to anyone to
Yeah.
go do a 4,000-mile transatlantic on a boat they've sailed for 1 hour. But
So you got an instant fan base now because they're quite a popular boat. They've got a real. If you've had a Hans Christian, you'd never have anything else sort of scenario. And there's a few watching you already.
yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've never really been offshore on a full keel boat before. But I've said this before to people. How did we go from, in one generation, these flat bottom, hard chine, big wide sterns,
Yeah.
to, from these really good seaworthy full keel boats that can take care of you in,
Yeah.
it's blowing 40, big deal. It's fine.
No, I know what you mean. Once you get a mover, they just keep moving too. Your high average speed,
Yeah,
easy
you're right.
but,
This boat, just I am so impressed, and it's just like Hans Christian is fantastic. Just
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, whole new story. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that you don't have the imposter syndrome about being a GGR sailor. I think you're just moving into it at a very, very controlled rate, and it's looking okay. Where are you in terms of the refit now and so on? Do you think you're 80% there on schedule? 90%, or
I'm good. I'm just before we came on air. The only issue I've been having is getting a confirmed date for my mast. I'm getting a new mast
Yeah.
from Selden, and luckily I have a date of May 21st, which puts me 3 weeks delayed. But I still feel pretty comfortable because
Yeah.
I just have to do the Celestial qualifier 2,000 miles, and
Yeah.
I'll do
Yeah.
that to get in early. I'll get there in early July. I hope
Yeah.
first week of
Yeah.
July.
That's cool. And so, what do you see then as your biggest challenge now, getting to the start line? You know,
Yeah,
biggest
yeah. We mentioned, as long as there's no hiccups moving forward, food there's is quite a bit of money involved with getting the food. So we're really thinking about, is it going to be a majority of freeze dried food, or as you've mentioned, and the other contestants who did the previous races have said, the French food is really good. So
oh yeah,
I'll definitely, of course, be loading on a lot of freeze dried food, but that's I have to come up again with purchasing for that. So there's a bit of money involved there, but I don't see there's any, but they're boats, so there could be a curveball thrown in there, but I think I feel pretty good with
yeah.
the refit.
You got it. Tell me about your team, because you've got a unique team, bigger than what I've seen in any other GGR skipper ever. I think it's a community based thing. What I was seeing, there's a whole group of people that have been with you before the start, getting the boat and everything. Explain how that worked.
Yeah, it's kind of steamrolled. So, you know, as most will know, I'm a member of the RNLI, and we kind of call it the RNLI Mafia, where in a good way, because it's instant integration into the community. And
Yeah,
I I've only lived over here. I've lived here 10 years,
that's
and
you as an RNLI lifeboat
that's
man.
me at Limington. That's Limington RNLI. Yep.
Yep.
And and through that you're instantly in the most of the people are sailors and have associated with the boating community. Al Mackay, who's part of my team, is the operations manager for the lifeboat, and he's an ex Tornado fighter pilot wing commander, who these people have been pretty high up in business in London, so they keep me well grounded, they keep me
Yeah.
sorted out, which is great. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's five of us, six kind of now. Yeah. And they've been super helpful. Couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. And what about the issue of, I mean, I can see where you've developed through your maritime career and so on, and now you want an adventure, so it's the GGR. But where's the biggest spark? What's the biggest attraction? Because it's not just any adventure; it's pretty ugly and pretty hard. But what do you think is the element that's drawing you into it?
I think because it's the ultimate in sailing for me.
Yeah,
It's I'm not going to poo-poo the other races like Vendée Globes and America's Cup and Sail GP. Technology is great, but there's not much that I think sailors who go out, at 7 knots can wrap their head around these days. And I thought, if I'm going to commit to an adventure that's sailing, why not just do the ultimate, which is sailing around the world? And I've never been one to an adventure for me is not going and cruising through the Panama Canal and doing the Pacific. I need to have a goal, and the GGR is the goal. And I don't think I could ever go cruising on a boat. So that's the spark right there. Is it's the ultimate, rounding the three capes, the three great capes, Cape Horn, and it'll just be it'll be a pinnacle of what I've done
yeah,
my whole career.
yeah. And you're sailing with a charity, because it's interesting you say you'd never go cruising. I mean, I've spent a bit of time cruising, but I've always got to have a purpose when you're doing that. Filming, diving, hunting, doing all sorts of things. But GGR, you've extended that out into a charity as well. Tell us about the charity. What's going on there?
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where you need to get the word out there. And one of the greatest things I think that happened was getting a slot at the Southampton Boat Show for my boat. So it was
Yeah,
10 days. I think Ian Herbert Jones a couple years earlier had Buffin there, and it was just really great exposure for the GGR and my campaign. And a fellow came by, a very quiet guy, and he said he likes to make dreams happen, but it took a few months of negotiation where he said it just can't be about you. We need a greater good. And he comes from a commercial background, just owning shipping companies. So
Yeah.
Mental health for him is incredibly important, and his charity is Seafarers Mental Health, and it's a first aid for seafarers, for commercial sailors, and it's a way to develop the crew and officers to have it's a first aid. You can do triage to somebody having an issue, maybe in the Strait of Hormuz, or you're stuck in a backwater in Nigeria and having a problem because you have family issues. And that's what he's promoting. And I think it's a really good um, way for him to show the mental aspect of this race, and also have showcase seafarers' mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, too true. How do you think you'll cope with the psychological stress of the GGR?
I think I'll do okay. So the first solo passage I did was 4,000 miles across, and I had so much going on in at home because I didn't leave by taking care of a bunch of things. I was selling a house and so many things,
Oh,
and
boy.
so
Yeah.
and I didn't have Starlink, so I just had an Iridium Go. Yeah, yeah, just so I could do 160 characters, and that was it.
Yeah.
A Garmin InReach is what I had, and so I was fine, but I felt very lonely because I'm sure I was one of the last vessels going to Northern Europe from the Caribbean in mid-June. So
Yeah.
I really did feel a little lonely, but I think the fact that so many people follow the Golden Globe race, that even if I'm feeling down and a bit lonely, I just will know there's always the YB tracker that's there, and people will always be following the race.
Yeah. Yeah, too true. And so any major modifications to the boat? Like it starts off as pumpkin, the red pumpkin, Hans Christian 34. Now it's what,
It's still the pumpkin, but the name will probably change shortly, and it'll be associated with seafarers' mental health.
Yeah.
Don't know what the name will be with that. So no, new mast. The mast was original, and it did get a clean bill of health actually from a rigger, but it's a 1978 mast. So
It's the big thing, isn't it? Because I see a lot, we talk about a lot to people that are buying their boats for the GGR, and the mast is perfectly good,
yeah.
but
Uh,
and it's so critical that people inevitably the majority will put a new mast on. Even though it's probably perfectly all right to leave it there.
yeah, probably so. And I would have, if I didn't have this help, I would have been comfortable leaving the mast. So, but things, a previous owner who took the boat around the world already 15 years ago, shortened the boom by a meter or more. And so I discussed it with the sailmaker and Allspars for the mast, and about possibly changing some things. And they said, "How does it sail?" And I said, "Perfectly. It's perfectly well balanced." I said, "Let's just leave it exactly how it is." So I'm going with a double spreader rather than single spreader. I'm leaving the old Scanmar wind vane, which has a huge trim tab rudder.
Yeah.
But I would have to get approval from you, and I just thought, what's the number one reason for people dropping out? It seems like it's the wind vane.
Yeah.
So I'm adding a brand new Hydrovane off center from that. So I really hope that's a big change. But I love having that big rudder, and like Tapio.
So you're going to leave, so you're going to leave you're going to leave the original one on, the auxiliary trim tab rudder, and then you put the Hydrovane on the side, and you got a hydrogenerator as well.
Yep, and then off on the other side, I have a Remoran hydrogenerator. Yep,
that's cool.
Yeah, so the big rudder, I just think Tapio's arrangement where he could steer from his little pod, which is similar to mine. I have that huge rudder now from my Scanmar Auto Helm, which then I can do the same and steer down the big waves with that. And then if I have an issue, I have the Hydrovane as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. All right. So, all good. We'll pick up on this again in a minute. But while you're in the heat of the moment, I'm going to throw you some words. You know how that works. You would have seen something. But I'm going to make sure you haven't seen the tongue twister we give you later. That happened last week. All right. So here we go. Scream.
All the time.
Woman.
Beauty.
Help.
Beatles.
Inspiration.
Chichester.
Hunger.
Probably.
Luck.
Need it.
Dreams.
Allman Brothers.
Fear.
Possible.
Vendée Globe.
Fast.
Le Sable d'Olonne.
Lovely people.
Cape Horn.
Left.
Bowline.
Needed.
Sponsors.
Yes.
Overboard.
No.
Southern Ocean.
Vast.
Knife.
Sharp.
Holidays.
What are those?
Panic.
Probably not.
Cold.
Inevitable.
Weather.
High pressure.
Impossible.
Not possible.
Drogue.
Drone or drogue?
Drogue.
Drogue. Probably not.
Calm.
Inevitable.
That'll do.
Yeah.
You're very fast with that. Someone might ask the question, they give me a sentence and an answer every one. Anyway, part of the
You
course.
said one word, so I tried to keep it to that.
Yeah, exactly. Good idea. Okay, so you're going to pick a number from 1 to 10. That'll direct me to a question. So 1 to 10.
8.
What do you know a lot about?
Music.
Music. What sort of music?
I'm a huge fan of 60s, some 70s rock and roll.
Oh, man, you're in the groove. I can imagine
I'm
the
in the
tapes
groove.
that you're going to have.
Yeah, well, that's it. Music's important. I played, I was living the American dream, living in London, and I played bass in a 60s rock and roll band, and we were doing quite well. I had to leave the band, moving to the coast, though.
So do you still play an instrument or something?
Yeah, I play guitar, and I need to. Maybe it's for off the air conversation. My guitar is carbon fiber, so we need to see about allowing carbon fiber.
So you want to take your carbon fiber guitar with you? That's what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
We might do a social media survey on that and see what people would think about breaching the rules, and we'll do a head count on that to see whether you can take your guitar. Okay?
Great.
But you're not allowed to chop it up and use the carbon fiber for any performance issues.
Yeah. No way.
Okay. 11 to 20.
20.
Oh, 20. I thought you were going to say 22. I said, no, 11 to 20.
Yep.
Very good. Okay. How do you relax?
I enjoy relaxing. So reading is good. I don't feel like I've done a lot of relaxing lately, but I do love a good bike ride, and then just to chill out after that, after a bit of exertion.
Yeah.
So that's probably how I would relax.
You're going to take a big hard copy library, or because you can't have an ebook or anything.
No, of course, no ebooks, but the books are going to be very important. I've been collecting. I've got a whole pile next to me and up at Jen's, up in Winchester at the cathedral. Every weekend they sell.
Are you a big reader?
Yeah, absolutely. I nonstop. So
I used to be, but now it's hopeless. I don't. Yeah.
I haven't been doing. Obviously, now I've been feel like I need to save my books. So I've been kind of mindless.
Right. You need to eat a lot and save your books.
I have been eating a lot. Yeah.
Funny you should say that. Anyway, okay. 21 to 30.
22.
22. Okay. On this sheet. Who inspires you the most and why?
Currently, in the past or current?
Both. You tell me.
Yeah, as I mentioned, my family, they were great, and so they were inspirations with with sailing, and my uncle who would drag me off on these really great sailing races. Yeah, I'd have to say, my uncle's a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
He sadly died in a skiing accident when I was in my teens, but he showed me a lot in those short years that I knew him. My great grandfather too. He lived to be 98, and
Wow.
he was a big inspiration. He always had a smile on his face. He was a fisherman, and
Okay.
he just was always an inspiration as well. As just a happy guy his whole life, and yeah,
Yeah.
smart guy too.
Okay. And any particular one for now, or they just still looking back?
Yeah, I like I got to meet Bill Clinton and do some work for the Clinton Global Initiative in Haiti, and yeah, that was cool. I mean, say what you want about it, we won't get into politics, but it was kind of an inspiration. It's great
Yeah.
to work with
Yeah.
him.
That's cool. Okay. We're under 20s, so if my arithmetic is good, we want to go from 31 to 40.
You know what number I have to pick, Don?
42, 44,
31.
31. Oh,
My
sorry.
number.
Yeah. Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Chilled, thoughtful, kind.
Okay. I could always say, why kind?
Yeah, why kind? I like to be nice to people, I think.
Yeah. Okay. That's aspirational. Very good. Okay. So that was now I keep getting distracted. Have we done 31 to 40?
Yeah,
we
we
just
did 31 to
it.
40.
That's 30. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to do 41 to 48.
Let's do 45.
45. If something happened and you lost everything, what would you do?
Don't think I'd have any problems. I just can keep on keeping on and go get a job. And it's, I don't know, things and possessions to me don't really mean much. As long as I would still have friends and family, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem. I'd just go get a job and keep life going.
Keep it going. Okay. Right. Now for the tricky one. Pick a letter from A to N.
A to N. Let's go with B.
B.
Bravo.
Okay. You ready for it? This is
Oh,
deep
gosh.
and meaningful. You got to really think about this, right? So no need for a quick answer. Okay. Is cereal soup? And why?
No.
Why?
Soup to me, well, it doesn't have to be hot, does it? But it's why? It is deep, and I'm trying to remember who answered this before because I did hear this before.
No, you can't use their answer.
Yeah, I can't use their answer, but I can't remember their answer.
Okay, well, that's
But
cheating.
no, I mean-
Go on, I'll cancel that one. Now you got to pick another letter from A to N and not B.
A to N, not B. So let's go with D. Delta.
D. We've had this one as well. Why are manhole covers round?
Oh gosh. Oh, Don, I don't know why.
Because the hole is round.
Okay.
Go on. I forget who it was. One of the entries actually got it right, and I didn't even know. I just thought it was a silly question, and he said, because the hole is round. And I thought, oh, good answer.
So I'm just thinking too much.
No, it's fine. Okay, that wasn't the tongue twister, actually. That was something else. So, okay. So, and I've said that one as well. What is... Oh, geez, I've said that one as well. I'm running out of good questions. Okay, now, you ready for it? If
Ready.
2 is company and 3 is a crowd, what's 4 and 5?
Oh gosh, Don. My math is terrible, except for celestial. if 2 is
Company,
company,
3 is a crowd,
3 is a crowd.
what's 4 and 5?
What are 4 and 5? 4. I have no idea.
I'll show you. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
4 and 5 is 9. You know.
Oh, God. I think I heard Jen just yell something from up top there, so I think she got it.
Okay, all right. Back to something serious. What are we going to talk about for something serious about the GGR now? So,
Yeah,
what's the
we should
story?
talk.
What's the story for you? For are you racing? Are you cruising? Are you just want to finish, or a combination? Try and let me know where you slot in.
Whenever I'm on a boat, um, it has to be moving, and if a sail change needs to happen, even if I'm doing a delivery, not racing, for me, the boat has to be going at its optimal speed and optimal sail shape. So, if I'm doing that, I would like to think I could be up there doing fairly well. I'm hoping my boat's going to be, fairly fast. It's certainly heavy.
Yeah,
Um, it's 34 feet on deck, but it has a longer water line than a Rustler 36, and maybe it won't be the fastest down the Atlantic, but you know, I mean, honestly, if I finish, it's fantastic, isn't it? So
yeah,
I am going to try to not push the boat, but
yeah,
be as efficient as I can to get
yeah.
around.
It's an interesting matrix, because it's proven so far, even in the last two editions, that there's so much more to it than the boat, but the boats are all equally competitive in their own way. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on, because it's the boat, it's the sailor, it's the sails, it's the tactics. All sorts of things. And yeah, anyway, part of the
Yeah,
course.
I mean, I see so many different variables with the different characters in this too, and you can't discount anyone, can you? Because
No,
they
no,
all,
exactly,
if they made it to the start, they're just all are tenacious people, and
absolutely.
that's what you
Yeah.
need to be.
But yeah, my take was, because I didn't come from a sailing racing background. I was a compass and a knife man. I'll always get home. But you found that when I started sailing solo, it was the same deal. You wanted to get there and get it done, and so invariably, all of a sudden, you realise, oh, I'm sort of racing because I don't want to waste time. You're there by yourself. You want to keep going. So yeah, I think
Exactly.
anyway, it's going to be fun to see how that pans out. Okay, what about sales? How many sales are you going to take? And
I think by the time you add it up, I'm sure everyone says this. It's oh, you get 9 sales, and then by the time you kind of add things up, you're at 9
yeah,
fairly quickly. When I can't remember what the storm trysail, if that was included or not, but so yes, a
but it's
symmetrical. I like symmetrical spinnakers, so um, I'll have a symmetrical. I have an asymmetrical that came with the boat. Um, but I prefer just using, if I have to use a spinnaker, it'll be symmetrical. Um, a I'll have 2 Yankees
yeah.
and a Genoa. Yeah.
And describe to me your sleep patterns. What do you usually do? Because for me, I'm probably my own worst enemy, but so far so good. I sleep when I need to sleep, and hope there's everything's happening, and you look up and around and check. But some people say they sleep only an hour at a time and stuff. But where are you for sleeping?
I'm probably more like you. If it's the conditions warrant it, I'm asleep. And there's a couple times on my trip across on my boat that I the sailing was just going along so well, and I think I slept most of the night, and
That's right.
it's
Yeah,
great.
you do. This is something, I'm always amazed when I hear people say, "Oh, yeah, I didn't sleep any more than 1 hour a night at a time," and things like that. You do your own risk assessment and value judgments at the time. Sometimes, geez, I've had occasions when I've been up and you're desperate to sleep and you can't. You got to tape your eyes open. But other
Yeah.
times, you just go and sleep 8 hours if you're tired enough. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad I do get to sleep when I did. So I made sure I had plenty coming into the English Channel
yeah,
because I hadn't seen land in 32 days, and I was coming up by the Isles of Scilly, and then the fog came in. So I had 3 days of thick fog until it was almost in Lymington before the
yeah,
fog cleared. So
yeah,
I was awake for 48 or more hours then.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Not too true. What do you think you're going to miss the most during the whole thing?
Well, Jen's listening, so I have to say Jen, my family, my lovely daughter Jewel. Um, yeah, the usual. I don't know. Hot showers are overrated for me, but a
Yeah.
pizza maybe, something like that. Yeah.
All right. And so, what about we spoke to the question about entertainment, relaxing, and stuff. What are you going to do to relax on the boat and take your mind? Because everyone does it differently, but sometimes when you're doing all this, it's all intense, and you got to do something to pull yourself psychologically off the boat. You know what I mean? So, what do you think you're going to do for entertainment and so on? Because a lot of time, 8 months.
Yeah, I think it's, make sure I have enough novels that are not related to the sea, and I found that was really good. And I've always, when I was doing boat deliveries, and I was just tired of being, seeing the ocean. I can't, of course, I can't do it on this race, but I would throw on Lawrence of Arabia and just have all desert. So I'll bring books on something silly that's non-boat related and take my mind away for a bit from the ocean.
Yeah, the funniest thing, when we lived in Antarctica every year, we took all these Antarctic and adventure books and this, that, and the other. And luckily, there was an old government hut there, and we found about 10 cowboy and Indian Western paperback novels. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were the best thing.
I bet.
Wow, very funny. Anyway, so I know where
Yeah,
that's
it takes your mind. It's anything to get your mind away a bit. And yeah, I think you feel refreshed. And
yeah.
I was reading some Clive Cussler novel, in the transatlantic, and a couple hours of that, and then you go, oh, okay, I'm back into sailing. But I was I was away for 2 hours in my own little world.
Yeah. So, you got a fitness plan? Do you think your body will be trashed doing the race? Like, have you got a perspective on that yet? You expecting anything?
I just because I've been doing a lot of racing, not necessarily this year because I've been doing the prep, but last year and then the transatlantic. I did all the Rourke offshore races and Fastnet, and I just find that when I'm on the boat doing it, I just naturally get fit from doing the work.
Yeah.
I do keep fit. I do. Bike riding's my big thing, so I think I'll be all right. But yeah, your hands take a beating, don't they? So things like that.
So do you like eating barnacles, or you'd rather put good anti-fouling on and keep them off?
Yeah, definitely don't want to have any of the nightmares that some of the others have had on their. What was it, Jeremy Bagshaw watching?
Yeah,
his video.
So what's the plan? What's the plan?
It's similar. It's the same schedule that Jean-Luc Van Died had in his race. So it's many coats of a slightly harder ablative paint. Luckily, my boat was taken down to epoxy 3 years ago, so it was a really nice base to start with.
Yeah.
And then, so I have that applied now, and then I'm going to haul out again before Sablon and do a more softer ablative schedule of paint.
Yeah. Okay. Good idea. And so, who's coming? What's your general plan? Like, you do your sailing miles, and then you come across to La Sable d'Olonne. Who's coming across with you? A big troop, or just you and who? What your plan?
Obviously, Andy, my manager, will be there on the required day, August 10th, I think, right?
Yeah, 10th. Yeah.
And it's nice of you to plan that because my birthday is August 11th. So thank you for that.
Okay. We'll try.
But again, the team, Jen will be there for all of August. And then the team will come in, I think, 2 weeks before the start. And we've rented a villa there. So we'll have room. So, but, I want to be there early July, first week of July, as early as possible.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about the GGR, what would it be?
Well, I'm sure we're going to discuss it later, but
yeah,
I'll
probably say no, so don't worry about it.
No, yeah, you say no, yeah.
Don't
So
stress.
yeah, but I don't know. It's just so yeah. I don't know how you'd get around this. You say it's sailing like 1968.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like sailing like it's 1928, because one thing I've noticed after years of, being in the Atlantic Ocean and all around, getting wonderful weather facts broadcast, nonstop BBC on the single sideband, suddenly it's really hard to get, there's very few BBC broadcasts. It's getting much harder to get a weather facts print out. So, but I don't, of course, I don't know how you get around that by getting better weather data.
Yeah.
And honestly, how much is in a boat that's going as slow as we do? How much better is it to have that data? I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I could go back 30 years and have the continuous weather facts synoptic charts, I would love that because I really like a weather facts chart better, even better than a grid file.
Yeah. Yeah. WeatherFax, I think, does about half the world at the moment. So it's not
Yeah, I was
everywhere.
wondering what they were they able to get it in the Southern Ocean? Could they get some weather facts out here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the funny part is that the WeatherFax signal is part of the GMDSS safety, weather forecasting
Oh,
system.
of
So it
course.
has to be mandated and maintained. But the main one is the HF word forecast. And I remember in 1990 when I was going around, I had to draw my own maps, because even then you couldn't get good maps sometimes. And so we'd just listen to the radio and we'd have to write it all down and then draw the map, center of the highs and lows and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a different art of understanding the weather because now what I see is a lot of people, they've lost the art of understanding what the weather is because all they're doing is looking at grid files. They don't understand the interaction between highs and lows and all this sort of stuff and what some of the things are to expect because in the Southern Ocean it's like clockwork, northwest approaching front, swing on the front to the southwest and keep going, and it just depends on the position of the high and low. But anyway, that's weather is a challenge for sure, and
Yeah.
that's part of hanging out in the 68 type realm.
Yeah.
Even with the navigation and stuff as well. It's all part of going back to the roots of where it was. So we're not likely to give you satellite weather forecasting. So carry on.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, obviously that's the draw of the race, isn't it? Not having that sort of
Yeah,
thing. But I mean, I guess it's also what a great skill it's going to be to have to look at the sky and just
yeah,
know eventually in the Southern Ocean, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's what the sky is going to look like when there's a frontal passage or something, and
yeah.
that's great.
Even using the radio is interesting because no one uses HF nowadays, but GGR entrants have to. So it's quite a quantum shift, eh? Anyway, that's all
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so I think we're anything you want to now say to sign off with all your friends and followers and bits.
Well, just what a great trip this has been so far. Thank you for setting up these crazy races, and it really is. I mean, I really do feel like I just fell back in love with sailing again, and
Yeah,
this is. I feel right at home. I think with this, being where I am in Leamington with my whole team here, and it's just been so. It's been a lot of fun, I have to say. A lot of work, but it's been fun getting prepped for this big adventure. And thanks to all my sponsors who have come on board, and it's just been fantastic. And I'm now that we hit the water again tomorrow, I launched the boat. I'm going to just be doing a bit more on big thanks to the Remora and Hydrogenerator, Jeremy Rogers Boatyard, and Mustang Survival coming on board. It's been really fantastic.
yeah. There's
And
a
of
lot of
course,
people hanging out for it because it's amazing. Our following grew a lot in 22, and then our other events. People are saying, "Oh, I can't wait for the next GGR and all that sort of stuff." So it'll be on fire very soon. Touch wood, and you're doing a great job. I mean, everyone's got a backstory, but you've never had a real job. That's what my mother would
yeah, I
say.
guess. No, I guess I haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to me all
no,
the
but
time.
yeah, I guess I have to say, I've met 16 of the competitors in Sable d'Olonne, and that's what the essence of the race is that
Yeah,
everyone. I feel like there's a whole family, and I'm sure
yeah,
all the competitors say this, and we have our WhatsApp group, and I just love people have questions every day, and luckily
yeah,
there's Erton who's back, and Pat Lawless and Guy DeBoer, and who can also give us some of the hints for how to prep for this race.
yeah.
So it's a great family.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I just realised I keep forgetting about all the people that are here watching now. Just see if there's any questions. Kelly Gunnar, on your bike, best to launch. Kelly Borges, so don't forget to pick up some fridge magnets on the way. Adventures of Old Sea Dogs there. Good day, mate. he's a classic.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Barry Perrins is there.
Yes, he says, "Hey, old Bean, you must have met him up along the track somewhere." Did
No,
you?
I met Barry at the Southampton Boat Show, but I've watched Barry for
Right.
years.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
I
he's
picked up
great.
on him about, I don't know, 4 years ago, just a little bit, then a little bit more, and
Yeah,
I mean, if he's probably gone, probably bugger off. He might still be there, but sometimes I used to cringe. You're just waiting for what's going to break next, and
yeah,
he's only in his own time and just run a head sail. Who gives a damn?
yeah.
He's got plenty of time. His boats his world. It was fantastic. So anyway, good on you. So I don't know whether you're still there, but yeah, I followed you. And Mary South is there. Sandra Ship's there. Jennifer.
Mary South is the one that told me about my boat. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. No
yeah.
problem. Yeah, it's cool.
And
Sandra,
Miss Captain Joe ahoy from Fort Lauderdale. Okay.
yeah. David Robinson. Yeah, it is good. It's fun. I enjoy talking to the skippers now. Talk other things besides boats, like carbon fiber carbon fiber guitars. There's all these people say, take it, take it, take it.
Good.
With you. So, Trinidad, Land of Broken Dreams, Maz Finn. You're saying good luck. I'm just checking to see if there's any questions. Jennifer's going to miss you. He's going to play. Good luck. Yeah, there's no real questions. So, no, thanks everybody. Susanna Dinnick's there. G'day.
Glenn Collins from RNLI in Teddington. Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of cool. So we're looking forward. I'll probably see you because I've got to come over and put our engine in the boat. We still haven't got our engine Explorer yet, but anyway, it's coming. So we'll be over there sometime soon, and we'll catch up again, eh?
Yeah, that's great. Love that. Super, Don.
All right. Good on you. I'll see if I can sign out. Seeing we had problems going in, I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to delete us both. Ooh, it's only a little one. Okay, you're gone. See you later, Gunnar. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. It's just me left. See you later, everybody. On the weekend, it's going to be our UK Forces entry. He's in the army. He's got a Cape George 36. Can you guess who he is? Nice guy. Does great video stuff, and going to be fun talking to him for sure. So we'll see you on the weekend. Bye-bye.